Hey, 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 ladies, gentlemen, and transgenders, welcome to the Slothcast episode 7. Backstreet Boys said it best. Oh my god, we're back again to pleasure your body and your brain. And this week, I have a small riddle for you, Galne Gunnar. I have 6 eyes, 2 mouths, and 3 ears. What am I?
I don't know.
Ugly. Yes, that's right. Your favorite Latino Narsha is back once again to host the show, but I'm not rolling solo. Oh, no, no, no. As usual, I have 2 loyal co-hosts and a special guest, and oh my god, the lineup this week has to be the best episode so far. We got a bright young mind from the Netherlands. He is team captain, shot caller, and drafter for his team in the Heroes Lounge. He is a tank main and can spot a mosh pit from miles away. Hidde, how are you doing, my young friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Great to hear. Good to have you here. Just real quick, you are known as a huge nerd when it comes to watching pro games, looking at drafts and stuff like that. Do you feel an emptiness in your heart now that there are no games until the mid-season brawl?
An emptiness that will be filled next week once everything kicks off again. Can't wait.
Indeed, that makes 2 of us. We also have fan favorite and Swedish ambassador Galne Gunnar. For those not in the know, he is rank 74 Grandmaster and a hugely popular sub in the elite division of the Heroes Lounge, as his mechanics can carry any team on any role. Galne, how have you been the last couple of weeks?
I've been doing pretty good. Subbed in for some teams and played with my own team, GGU. And we qualified for playoffs on Heroes now, so we're doing pretty good.
Oh, sounds good. And congratulations on the playoff spot.
Thank you.
We'll get more into that a bit later. But I heard a rumor that just this week you drafted Rhaegar, Thrall, Samuro, Rexar, and Gul'dan. What do you call that comp?
We call it the Orchestra.
That's a terrible name.
No, it's an amazing name.
It has to be smart.
I don't want it.
Smart.
I can take it back.
As many have noticed, we here at the Slothcast really enjoy having a British guest on the show, and today is no exception. As explained in episode 6.5, we have recently made a partnership with Heroes Lounge, and with us today are one of the most important people from the administration. He is a popular and active caster. He is team captain, the guy that pulls many strings behind the scenes, creates content like the weekly recap, and the brain behind some of the great mini tournaments between seasons. Welcome, Rob!
Hello, I'm British. No longer team captain, by the way. I have retired from active competition.
Yeah, but the season isn't quite over yet, so...
Yeah.
Just a follow-up to you, Rob. After some of the mid-season tournaments that you made, I have a theory that you are either at the moment sober or a very high functional alcoholic.
Well, basically, I drink and I organise things. That's the 2 things I'm able to do. So sometimes they coincide.
Yeah, it's only been successful so far, so I guess you have some kind of formula that just works. We have a kind of a different show today, as we had to make some really, really last-minute adjustments. But now that everyone is here and have been introduced, let's show off our beautiful intermission before we head into the news. Welcome back, long time no see. With the mid-season brawl only a week away, Blizzard decides to drop a new balance patch, which they'll be playing on at DreamHack, and we kind of have to look into that. There are a few big changes, but first, the next hero to enter the Nexus has been revealed, and it's Malthael from Diablo. So, Galne, did you guess correctly from the hints, the candles that were tweeted out?
Not really. I'm not that familiar with the Diablo universe. I was like, maybe it's Deckard Cain, but I was not really sure. So I guess wrong, probably.
Okay, be honest. Who else thought it would be Deckard Cain?
For about half a second, I was pretty certain it was Malthael after the first candle went out. You start to see kind of the wisps of smoke. Realistically, they're never going to make Deckard Cain an actual hero, are they? It's just going to be an announced pack like, get ready to start the battle. And
Stay a while and listen.
Roderick Cube. And just random voice lines like that constantly. You can't make a hero out of that. However, that does make a good announced pack, which I'll buy the second it comes out.
Yeah, I would kind of think like something of the same sense. Like they could just make a Deckard Cain pack with some kind of mount, some sprays, a banner, voice
Deckard
lines.
Cain mount.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just got visions now of Butcher riding this little Deckard Cain like going as fast as I can.
A magic carpet or something. I don't know. Like, but at the same time, like Blizzard are known to just like blow everything away when it comes to designing new heroes. So like I wouldn't count it against them making a Deckard Cain hero. They can make everything happen. But over to what we actually got. We got Malthael, and I'm not that huge into Diablo, but Rob that just got that it would be him right away. Why don't you just tell us who is this guy?
So Malthael, he's basically the Angel of Death. He was at one point the Angel of Wisdom, abandoned heaven, and proceeded to start messing stuff up on the mortal realm. He's the star of the expansion pack from Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and he's generally not a nice dude. Very popular, though, in the Diablo community, mainly because he's full of angst and teens like that, I think.
Edgy.
Yeah, he's an angel.
Just like Diablo players, am I right? But yeah, I never played the expansions pack. I only played like the main game, so that's maybe why I haven't heard about him. But I've seen that he's been like pretty popular. A lot of people have been, or I can see that his name has been asked for quite some while. So it's a lot of people that are happy, and it does seem like he is quite special in the way that he plays. Like we have gotten access to his abilities and his talents, but no numbers yet, which will of course like really decide how good he will be. But Galnagunar, you have kind of looked into his abilities here. What do we have here?
Yeah, he plays kind of like a solo laner, I would say, because he has a lot of sustain, it looks like. But it feels like he's gonna be a pretty niche pick because all his damage is percentage based of health.
Yeah, let's just take a look at that trait. Okay, so all basic attacks afflict non-structured targets with Reaper's Mark for 4 seconds, which makes them take damage equal to 2.5% of their maximum health every second.
Yeah, that means if the mark runs out, it's going to be 10% of their max HP, if I can do math.
From one basic attack.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, but he has no real escape, so if you can just lock him down, it looks... I don't know if he has much HP or so, but it looks like he's not going to have that much HP. So if you like lock him down, it's going to be an easy kill, I guess.
Yeah, because like we have had like a huge solo laning segment, and one of the things that were brought up there was that a good solo laner needs to have some sustainability, and he really does, don't he, with his Q talent?
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna sustain really, really well against high health targets. So maybe you pick him to counter like a Sonya or an Arthas on lane.
Because with his Q ability, he extracts the souls of nearby enemies afflicted with Reaper's Mark, the passive that comes from basic attacks, dealing 100 damage and healing Malthael for 44 per target hits. And heroic targets, that's heroes, heals Malthael for an additional 3% of the hero's maximum health. So yeah, that should be a good boost to his sustain right there.
Yeah, I have to agree. And while I've been looking at the talents, He can do a lot of damage with Reaper's Mark. You can talent it that it does 100% more extra damage. That's going to be really, really strong versus high health targets because you're basically just going to chunk them to like 50% or 60% of HP in like one ability. It's going to be pretty strong. But then again, we haven't tested him out yet because he's not in the PTR. So I'm not really sure how it's going to play out.
Yeah, most probably he's going to come on the PTR this coming week, just in a couple of days, maybe when you are listening to this episode. Hello, viewer, breaking the fourth wall. But so, yeah, the numbers will, of course, decide how strong it will be. But the kit is pretty interesting, and it's all about this trait. Like his W talent, Raid Strike, he can teleport through an enemy, but it has to be afflicted by Reaper's Mark. I just guess it's just point and click we're expecting here. It's not going to be a skill shot,
Yeah, I think it's going to be a point and click for sure. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be weird because you can Reaper's Mark more than one target.
Yeah, so it's not like Lily Jugs where you just pick some, like the closest one or the one lowest on health. Yeah. And I have to mention too his Eat ability, Death Shroud. After 0.25 seconds, unleash a wave of dark mist that applies Reaper marks to enemies it hits. So it's just an AoE basic attack, really.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, without the damage, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, again, he's gonna be able to just afflict like the whole minion wave and probably his opponent's soul laner with his trait in a small amount of time, and yeah, it's which again gonna give him more sustain. Yeah, he does look interesting for sure, and we also, of course, have to look at the heroics. Hidden, do you have them up?
Yeah, the first one is Tormented Soul, which gives him armor. It basically gives him like a Kerrigan Maelstrom ability, which just starts a torrent of soul starts to unleash around him, and it applies Reaper's Mark to opponents, and it lasts for 4 seconds. And the other one is called Last Rites, and it applies a death sentence to an enemy hero, and after 2 seconds, that hero takes damage for 50% of the health that they are missing. So I think when you do quick math, if a hero is below 33% health, it will just kill him outright every time. And there's a quest for that talent as well, and that is every time you kill an enemy that is under the effect of Last Rites, that permanently increases the cooldown by 5 seconds, and that is repeatable, so you can eventually get that cooldown down to 0, probably. But it says to a minimum of 15 seconds here. That's what I have open, so I presume that you can keep getting it down further and further and further. Especially because it's called a repeatable quest and not one that has like a special ending like most quests do. So that heroic would probably be the stronger one if you can reliably set it up constantly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think Torrented Souls is a very strong ultimate as well. Just dealing massive AoE percentage damage to every tank that's around you. That sounds like with the armor sounds like a pretty good ult as well.
I don't know if it's a channel ulti or it's like going on when you move.
Yeah, because
it doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't say, and that kind of makes like a huge difference. Either it is like again Lily 1000 cups thing when you just run around throwing out cups for the amount of duration the ulti lasts, or it's like Kerrigan Maelstrom, like they mentioned, where you just can do other things while doing all this AoE damage around you.
I'd expect it to be more like Maelstrom, looking at the effect it's actually doing. Yeah. It's probably going to be, okay, I'm going to be spewing all this crap around me whilst I'm still kicking you in the face.
Yeah, I think it's the same for like Last Rites. I think that's also like a bit like a non-channel ability, because otherwise it would have been specified a little bit more. Like it would have probably specified in the talent like channel for X seconds to do this and this. So I'm presuming that both of them are just it's just an applied effect that you put on a hero, and for Tormented Souls that you just Maelstrom around people constantly. That would make the most sense. As well as like the ultimates, the upgrades for them on level 20 are very good from what I'm reading here.
Oh yeah, we have the talents here. Let's take a quick look at them. Okay. That's the Reaper results. While Tormented Souls is active, hero takedowns extend its duration by 4 seconds. Okay. Yeah.
It sounds like it basically gives refreshes the cooldown completely, gives you a second Tormented Souls instantly after, because of the amount of percentage damage that it can do if you spec into your trait. I think it doesn't say that it is untalented, so I presume that it's going to be talented when you apply your trait on the heroes with Tormented Souls. So that might actually end up dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah, I could say that's fair.
But okay, before we get into the other level 20, one thing that I think is really important to mention here is because the trait sounds stupidly OP when you think about it. Will do 10% of your health bar, not your current health, or it will do 10% of your health with every basic attack. But I think it's really important to know that this doesn't stack. If he hits you 2 times, you won't get 8 seconds of Reaper's Mark on you. You will refresh the duration of 4. Am I right? Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Otherwise, it would have been stupidly broken, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Blizzard is known to put in some stupidly broken things from time to time, so I'm not I'm not sure it says. Does it say on the trait that it cannot stack? Because if it does, then it's a lot less powerful than what you would expect. But if it can stack, then it's probably a little bit broken.
Surely it won't stack. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't say specifically that this doesn't stack or additional basic attacks refreshes, but I will just assume so, because I agree that Blizzard likes to put out overpowered heroes at release, but that will be just stupid. It means you just have to basic attack you 10 times and you're dead.
Yeah, it kind of I think. In the way that it's worded on the site, I think it would kind of work like Lunara Poison. It stacks up to a certain amount and then it just keeps refreshing from there. But that would still be very, very broken, because you would win every single lane. Because especially melee heroes that don't have an escape just kind of get chunked by you constantly and just have to go back every 5 seconds.
I think what's quite important for that as well, it says non-structure targets for that trait also. Does that mean he's just going to be wrecking bosses and BOE immortals and whatnot, just devastating them? Because that's really powerful as well. So on something like Cursed Hollow, he's just going to eat through a boss so quickly.
Yeah, I would think that definitely. It says non-structured. It could have said heroes and minions, heroes, minions, and mercenaries, or whatever it could have done. But it's clearly specific. It says non-structured. Sorry. So yeah, I would assume it works. He won't be able to solo bosses or anything like that, because it's it goes over such a long time, and he will have to take a beating while the dot ticks. But he will, for the immortal race on BOE, I expect him to be really powerful.
Yeah, that sounds stupidly broken for a map like BOE, dealing 10% of the immortal's health with 1 auto attack.
Yeah, over 4 seconds, but
even then, that is a stupid amount of damage. Especially late game immortals have a lot of health, so that's going to deal a lot of damage.
So I'm assuming his basic auto attacks are going to hit like a wet noodle bow. All his damage is going to be in the trait, right?
Yeah.
I presume so as well, yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, I will also kind of hope almost that he has a really slow attack speed.
Yeah.
That will be interesting, because if you watch him in the trailers and stuff, or how he is in Diablo, he's got his dual weapons and he's pretty quick with them. So I can't see them making him that slow, just because it won't feel like mouthfeel then. And they tend to try and keep that feel of this is how the hero feels in the other games. So I'd expect him at least have a sort of medium-ish attack speed with those 2 weapons. It's definitely not going to be a very slow attack speed.
Like the weapon itself also doesn't really strike me as something that you would handle extremely slow. Like Leoric's mace is obviously very slow to handle because it's a giant ass mace that he has to swing around. Like Malthael's sights are pretty small and should be pretty mobile.
I think they're technically sickles.
Sickles. Yeah. Yeah, sight is a little bit. That should be an upgrade. Give him a sight instead.
Rob knows his farmer equipment. I'm not sure how much you've been looking like through the talents. We just got them not that long ago, but like there are some like okay. We are going to go through this in much more detail later when we had an opportunity to play him, because at the moment it's just like we can't say anything for sure until we get the numbers. Those are what will decide how it plays out for sure. But there are some stupid talents in here, like especially when it comes to like the escape things. Like on level 1, he has Fear the Reaper, activate to increase movement speed by 25% and pass through other units for 4 seconds.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty good as an escape because he doesn't have one.
Yeah. That will give him some kind of mobility, like walk through the units, and the move speed isn't huge, but it's still like enough to probably get him out of much trouble.
Pretty much mount speed. So.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think it's all about his level 16. If you look at the level 16 talent, Memento Mori, just read that out real quick. Reaper's Mark deals 100% increased damage after afflicting an enemy for more than 4 seconds. So 100%. So as opposed to 10% damage in 4 seconds, that's 20% damage in 4 seconds. That is a hell of a damage spike. If you're going up against like a double tank comp or something like that, or a Stitches or a Cho'Gao, bye-bye health. Bye-bye. It's going away very, very quickly.
Yeah. Of course, you need to stick him, but like to do it because you have to been afflicting it for over 4 seconds. But still, you were saying?
Yeah, like I think the scary part about this is I can hear myself echo somewhere. That was probably a mistake then. But I think the scary thing about this talent is that this does imply that it stacks, because having to apply it for more than 4 seconds and it baseline lasts for 4 seconds implies that you can stack it, like refresh the Reaper's Mark for more at the time. That kind of makes me afraid of how broken that actually will be.
Yeah, so the way I think that's going to work is you'll never have more than 4 seconds on there without refreshing it with auto attacks. But I think every time you hit him, it will refresh it back up to, okay, you've still got 4 more seconds of its dot. Hit him after 2 seconds, you've got 4 more seconds of a start, and just keep refreshing it from that. I think between that and Last Rites, when you look at Last Rites and it says reducing the cooldown to a minimum 15 seconds, and then you take the level 20 upgrade, which heals you for 100% of the damage dealt, being able to do that every 15 seconds sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Another talent that looks pretty good is level 7 that reduces the healing when you click it, activate it, and if they have Reaper's Mark, they reduce the healing by 50% for 4 seconds.
Am I right in thinking that's the earliest healing reduction talent you can get in the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think Valera has one on level 4.
Yeah, she does.
And talking about level 4, like it just seems so stupid, this hero. On level 4, you have a talent called Black Harvest. It's a quest.
Mm-hmm.
After you've applied the Reaper's Mark to heroes for a total of 150 seconds, Reaper's Mark the duration is permanently increased by 2 seconds.
So 6 seconds instead of 4.
6 seconds!
So 15% of their health normally. Once you hit level 16, that's 30% of their health normally.
Seems balanced. Seems fair and interactive.
Seems fair.
As well, and for as well, like Die Alone, that is going to be an amazing solo lane talent, dealing 75% more damage to one hero. Just because you're in solo lane and you're most likely to be up against one hero, that seems like also something that would just give you so much more sustain and just damage in solo lane.
Yeah, but that's of the that's 75% more damage on the Q, which is 100 damage or something.
Yeah, but still, like it gives you some sustain as well, so it heals you for more as well.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
And even if you look at his like survivability tier, which is level 13, he's got some really good options again, like Ethereal Existence, 15%, 15 physical armor per enemy hero afflicted by Reaper's Mark, maximum of 45. So basically, as long as you've got Reaper's Mark on 3 people, permanent 45 natural armor, physical armor. That's really good. And then he's also got the choice of the spell shield option, Shroud of Wisdom. After 2 seconds, gain 50 spell armor for 4 seconds. I'm not as big of a fan of that, just because of the after 2 seconds bit. But we'll see what the cooldown is like on that.
Yeah. There's. Yeah, he looks really interesting. I'm almost quite like taken back by how powerful this guy will possibly be. It's going to be really interesting, but we can't say much more now without having tested him yet. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to him hitting the PTR, hopefully the upcoming week, and we'll go through everything in more detail after we got our hands on it. But as for now, something that's already in the game from last Wednesday are the latest balance changes. And we, of course, have to take a look at that also, because that's what this is the patch you're going to play on at DreamHack. Hilde, starting from the top, what do you see as most important to bring up here?
Well, Alarak has gotten a small nerf to his Scales Range Talents, which was pretty much the only pick on level 4. It still is, I presume. The damage decrease is not that huge of a deal, but Alarak getting some changes because he seemed like very strong hero in some situations right now. Pure Malice getting a bit of a buff, and Rite of Rexure a little bit of a nerf. Then there is a few, there's a minor one for Cassia, not being able to bounce attacks from structure, stuff like that. Some pretty minor. Then Ragnaros. Blizzard doesn't like Ragnaros anymore, apparently. Yeah. They're nerfing his Q damage from level 1 talent. They're nerfing Catching Fire, and they're nerfing Cauterized Wounds, which is going to make Ragnaros even less of a pick than he already is right now, which is kind of sad. Because he was already, before the patch, he was already pretty much only picked to use his trait and for blow-up combos with Sulfurous Smash, and now he's just going to be even less of a pick because he's pretty much completely underpowered now, I feel. And there's a few minor ones for Samuro and Soul-Jin. Probius getting a bit of a nerf because Probius was apparently doing really well in Hero League, and people didn't feel like dealing with that, so Blizzard is nerfing his damage a little bit, giving him some buffs on some other talents. There's a minor buff.
Yeah, that mostly feel like just we need to buff the talents that no one takes and scale down like they normally do, I guess.
Yeah, like standards. Try to make other builds viable as well, not just the standard one that everyone goes for.
The only thing that I just like mentioned regarding the Soul-Jin change, like it's a really small set. The Guillotine, the heroic ability that no one takes, it can no longer be interrupted once cast. The axe is falling, and like on the one hand, I understand how this is like a quality of life improvement. On the other hand, like, is it good to lower this? It kind of lowers the skill cap because, like, many people like that you are able to stun enemies out of important abilities if you are good enough to do that.
So I disagree on that one personally, just purely because with that particular ability, it has such a travel time as it is anyway, that you can kind of dodge it most of the time anyway. So it's kind of like you already had a skill element to get out of it because you can kind of see it coming and just like move out of the way. So I don't think it's as big a deal in this case.
Now that you're moving into supports, Galningunar, you're a support main, I hear.
Yes.
How's Tassadar looking?
Bliss, please, don't buff Tass. I don't want him in the meta again.
He was dominating the meta for such a long time, like first pick, first bank, for such a long time. Everyone was sick of it. Finally, they nerfed him. Get him out of here. Let's draft some interesting heroes. And is he back?
I don't think so. Like, it's a pretty like good buff if you run like a Illidan comp or a Vala comp, but otherwise it's just the same pretty much. I don't think he will be picked as much.
Yeah, I think the shield duration nerf that he got a few patches ago pretty much killed Tassadar for the meta, because the most important thing for picking him was the fact that he could have his shield up so long. And now that it's like 4 seconds, I think 4 seconds shield duration on an 8-second cooldown, it's not really worth picking because the shield runs out too fast.
Yeah, because like like his basic attack damage has been increased a little bit. It's negligible, and
You say it's a little bit. That's 25%. That's a reasonable chunk.
Yeah, but it's so small from before. It's just
instead of what 48 damage a second, Tassadar now deals 60 damage a second per auto attack cycle, because he has 4 auto attacks in a second, I think. That's his attack speed, so it's still pretty much negligible how much damage he can deal. Most of the talents that buff his auto attacks are like the main one is the one that gives him 1% auto attack damage per like 1% hero health on level 16, I think, with Oracle up, but that doesn't really skill off of his auto attacks anyway.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty minor.
Yeah, and like very few people play damage Tassadar. I know some, Bread Bucket, but yeah, I think like it's all about the shields for Tassadar. And yeah, he enables carries to go completely ham. The big change in this patch is that the lifesteal has been upped from 30 to 45% baseline, and with the quest, with the talent on 4 from 60 to 90% lifesteal. And of course, that sounds like a lot, but as Ida mentioned, the duration of the shield is still pretty short, which won't let the carry go as ham as they used to do back when the shield duration was longer. So hopefully we won't have to see as much of him again. What about Tyrande? She got a huge rework just a little while ago, but her win rate is still pretty bad.
Tyrande's getting a little bit of love. I think it was necessary as well, because some of the only talent you would really reasonably pick on level 1 was, I think, Ranger's Mark. That was the main one. I've not played much Tyrande, so I'm not really too sure what the main build is for her. But Ranger got a little bit of a buff. It increases the width of the owl, like Ranger used to do back in the day before the rework. Ranger's Mark got a bit of a buff. Basic attacks required per decreased cooldown from 60 to 50, so you don't need to auto attack as much. Hunter's Fury, the splash damage range is increased by roughly 30%, but that's still not going to make that talent much better, because you would the only really good way to use that is when people are really clumped up, and when you want to clear a mercenary camp. And now that's not really the way you want to use Tyrande to clear mercenary camps, since her clear is not really that great.
It will probably not have a huge impact, I guess, but at least they're fixing some of the things it seems like they overlooked in the rework. But now for Warriors, and here we have the biggest changes. ETC, he was nerfed a lot not that long ago. He got a small buff now. Will this make him viable again?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
There's going to be they need to rework his trait back to what it was before for ETC to be viable again, or they just need to increase his health back to a reasonable amount. Otherwise, ETC is going to be unplayable, and that's sad. Otherwise, D.Va got a bit of a nerf, and that is somewhat reasonable because D.Va was very annoying. She wasn't very good in my opinion. I don't think she was really that hero that you would really kill people constantly, but apparently people were getting annoyed by her, so she was getting a little bit of number changing, tuning down. The biggest change, however, in the warrior category is the now infamous Riskar the Haka build.
Speed Dino!
Turbo Lizard.
Turbo Lizard. After the buff to enhanced agility, it gives you the mobility, the movement speed, not for 3 but 5 seconds, and Brushstalker movement speed baseline is also increased from 1 to 2 seconds, and the amount from 15 to 20. So if you stack enhanced agility completely, and you brush stalker in, you can chase down mounted heroes because you'll be faster than them.
Mhm.
And that's pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
Yes,
It's so much fun.
So what this means in practice is that every time the Haka runs into or through or just drops by a bush, he will gain a lot of speed. And it will last for now 5 seconds, that huge speed boost, and it will be refreshed every time he moves into another bush. So like everything from rotations and like chasing, escaping, things like that just gets completely different for him now.
I think on some maps the Haka can now just as fast just rotate by walking through bushes as he can by brush stalking in. It's like, I mean, of course, all jokes aside, that it is a very good buff for the Haka because he was seeing a little bit of decline in play. And this would allow him to be like a backline jumper, to just go in behind people and just rush onto a Chromie or a Kel'Thas or a Vala or something. But just drag him out of position as well.
But Gunnar, is it too much?
I think, yeah, he didn't need to get buffed. He was in a good place last patch. Now he's just stupidly broken, in my opinion. Like, that enhanced agility talent is just broken now. Like, he just runs in the backline and just creates chaos, and you can't do much. Like, if you play like a medic or something with no escape, you're basically screwed.
Yeah, and especially because he can, if you have enhanced agility stacked, I think the bonus, if you complete it, is 30%. I think it's 3% per 50 essence, and it goes up to 30. I'm not entirely sure what the cap is on it again. But if that is the case, you can go up to 150% movement speed, and that is 20% faster than mount speed. And that is pretty, that in itself is already pretty busted, that you can be that much faster.
Increases it by up to 20%.
Up to 20. No, you're still 10% faster than mount speed with
Which is a
full
huge
stack.
deal.
It is. Yeah. It is still a huge deal. Like being faster than like someone trying to run away from on a mount. That seems like it shouldn't be a thing.
I saw this video Dunk Train made where he just chased down guy like hero after hero, and this Kel'Thas managed to escape him. Like he ran through some bushes, and like the Kel'Thas was mounting up, but then the Haka was just thumping, so and just tongues him, drags him back, and it was actually stupid. We have to move on. The Haka looks kind of broken at the moment. We'll just see how it works out. It will be played during DreamHack, so yeah. We'll,
you say it. I think we'll be banned quite a bit.
I think so as well. But there are more heroes that are very high priority. So we'll probably see a lot of Rhaegar the Haka as well, because I'm not sure if it's going to put him in the super high priority ban list.
One of those heroes that has been highly contested for a while now is Anub'arak that got a small nerf, cooldown increased on Burrow Charge. His E, his level 4 talent Bed of Barbs doesn't slow as much anymore, and cooldown reduction on his level 16 Epicenter talent. Will it affect him? He's really strong in the meta.
No.
Not a huge amount.
He's still like first pick material because of Cocoon. So
I think so too.
Yeah. Until they nerf Cocoon, Anub'arak will always be picked. Yeah. Unless it's like into a hero that can just instantly kill a Cocoon, like a Tracer or something. But how often do you see Tracer? And especially into Cocoon, is Tracer really that hero you want? Like,
yeah, Cocoon is really, really strong at the moment. So yeah, until they do something about that, probably like the cast range or something, he will still be highly drafted in the DreamHack that's coming up now. Because I want to talk about DreamHack before we go into the break. As mentioned, it's only a week until the first group stage for the mid-season Brawl starts, and we have to take a look at that and make some predictions. So there are 12 teams going to Sweden, and they have put up two groups with 6 teams in each group. But Rob, there are 2 teams that will be eliminated already the coming week. How does this work?
That's correct, yeah. So as you mentioned, there is 2 groups of 6. What happens is the top 2 teams in each of those groups will automatically qualify into the upper bracket. which will be the modified double elimination. And third and fourth go into a lower bracket, and fifth and sixth go home. So long, farewell, thanks for all the fish. So it'll be interesting to see what teams do finish in those bottom two places, because these groups are pretty stacked.
Yeah, there are a lot of good teams there, and it's almost a shame that we have to send home 4 teams already before DreamHack has even begun. In Group A, let's just take a quick look at Group A first. We have Deadly Kittens. We have Roll20 Esports. That was formerly Team 8. Rob, I understand you're enthusiastic about Roll20 taking the leap into esports.
Yeah, absolutely. So Roll20, for those who don't know, is a role-playing company. They basically enable people to play normally what you'd refer to as pencil and paper role-playing games online, like Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, Pathfinder, etc., etc., etc. They're a really cool company. They got into it because they're a big group of them who run the company are actually big Heroes of the Storm fans anyway. They were like coming into the Reddit and stuff. If you look back at the history, they've had like a lot of input on Heroes of the Storm for quite some time. And they were just like, yeah, sure, let's get involved with it. And they're one of those new modern companies that's very ethical, a very cool company, and does a lot of cool stuff for charity and stuff like that. So really happy to see them, not only because Team 8 deserve a sponsor, they absolutely do. Ever since they got rid of Shu, I think they've been a really good team. And in addition, it's a cool company to come into esports as well. Always need more sponsors for Heroes of Storm as well.
They have to go up against mentioned Deadly Kittens. That's from Southeast Asia. They're also in a group with Fnatic that we know well, and Team CE, which is from China, Nomia, which had a great showing last tournament at Katowice, and then of course MVP Black.
Just before we move on to Group B, worth mentioning as well that one of the players from Nomia had to choose effectively between sitting his university finals or playing in HCC for the Clash, and actually chose to do the Clash, and looks like he's going to be missing a year of university as a result. So credit to him for making that decision. I don't know if I could have, but obviously wants to follow his dreams.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly who it was. Was it Arcaner or? No,
I can't remember which player it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm fairly sure it was Arcaner.
Yeah,
as well.
Pretty sure too.
Think so too. Yeah, that's huge credits to him taking the chance of because no one expects Nomad to win this thing. Like, come on. So like it's a huge chance to take to just postpone your whole education for a long time.
Nobody expects them to win it, but they did do pretty well at the last Clash.
In Katowice, they did really great.
They managed to almost beat Team Liquid at that point, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But they are in a really, really stacked group. Of course, the other group is too. But who will go home here? Like Deadly Kittens?
Honestly, I think it's probably going to end up being Deadly Kittens and Roll20. I think Roll20 is going to lose to Nomia. I absolutely do.
As much as I would like to share your enthusiasm for Nomia, I think it will be Deadly Kittens and then either Nomia or CE, because I'm not too impressed with China. I've been watching some of the China games, and the amount of weird things that they pick. They will go for solo support Tassadar with solo tank Leoric and Murky comps like that, and when I'm looking at that, I don't really see a region that will be able to do very well. I think the top two will definitely go to Fnatic and MVP because they're just by far the best two teams in that group. But I think it's going to be fairly close between the bottom four, Nomia, Roll20, and CE, because I think all three of those teams are fairly close. I've no idea how good Deadly Kittens are, to be honest.
I concur.
Yeah, I've looked them up. I don't know any of the players and stuff, so yeah, we'll just have to see. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to follow, and I'm kind of cheering for Nomia here. It would be really terrible if they have to just go home after not even making it to DreamHack after sacrificing so much.
BBA 2.0.
let's take a look at the Group B. We got Soul Torturers. Are those the former PBA?
Yeah, three of those are formerly from PBA.
Yeah, please buff Arthas. Another kind of a fan favorite team that's done surprisingly well, beating several NA teams in recent history.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, who hasn't? Right? We of course got Europe's one of the prides of Europe, Team Dignitas, and Red Canids.
Canits?
Canits.
It's the Brazilian team.
It's a Brazilian team. Yeah, former. Yeah, with Jay Shrita. I can't remember what they used to be named. Burning Rage.
I think Burning Rage.
Yeah, that's the Brazilian team. They unfortunately usually don't do too well. Just a shame. My Latino brothers, Caliente, those guys. So we'll just see. From China, E-Star Gaming. From North America, Tempo Storm, which is their first seed, and then the best team in the world, L5 from South Korea.
Yeah, I think this group is pretty stacked. I don't really know who's gonna finish 5th. I think for sure Red Candice is gonna be last place. I think 5th. I would bet Tempo Storm will be 5th.
Really?
I think E-Star is just gonna edge it out on 4th. Then it's gonna be L5 first.
You're gonna put Soul Torturers in 3rd place then?
Maybe 4th. Like I think E-Star or Soul Torturers will be 3rd and 4th. And then Dignitas 2nd, and then L5 first.
Yeah,
that's what I predict.
I think if any American team is going to get out of this first group stage, it's going to be Tempo Storm.
Oh, yeah.
I think at the very least they'll finish 4th. I think they have the potential to come 3rd. I would put them over E-Star. I really would.
Yeah, I think Tempo Storm would, but I think it's the same for Team 8. If you had or Roll20 now, if you had put Roll20 and Tempo Storm, if you swap those two groups around, I think Roll20 has the same amount of chance of actually beating E-Star as Tempo Storm has, because I think both of those teams are very, very good, like compared to each other. I think Tempo Storm is a bit of an edge over Roll20, but still, they're both pretty good teams for NA standards.
I would put Roll20 significantly below Tempo, just in terms of consistency. I think Tempo is by far the more consistent team. Roll20 can do good things, but I think Tempo is by far the better team.
Yeah, and Tempo Storm got 3rd guy, so it's rigged, obviously.
True story.
If Tempo Storm manages to win this, we can all forever and into like for always and ever, we can say 3rd guy rigged everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, just imagine being there. 3 of the 4 of us are going to be there at DreamHack in a couple of weeks, seeing all of this go down. Imagine being there and seeing fucking NA win.
Oh, I would riot.
I would be so disappointed.
I don't think so. I even like as much as you can poke into into a doom scenario where NA might win. Like even if NA might beat Europe teams, as unlikely as that is, with how on fire Team Dignitas and Fnatic are right now, I think they will never be able to beat L5 for MVP Black. Like I think you're like as a region, the only region right now that can touch Korean teams is Europe.
Yeah,
with how good we are playing currently, and even then, I think they are going to have a very, very rough time. Especially MVP Black is probably looking for some revenge after BlizzCon on Fnatic.
Yeah, because I was about to say like no one thought Fnatic would beat MVP Black in the semifinals and BlizzCon either. So everything can happen, but it probably won't. So yeah, but Tempo Storm, Roll20. If you're watching right now, there will always be a spot for you in like Division 3 in the Heroes Lounge.
Division 4, let's be fair.
Yeah, okay, let's be fair. I'm really, really looking forward to all this esports action, and it's not long to wait. Now, as this episode is pretty improvised due to some last-minute changes, we'll take the opportunity Rob gives us to talk about the upcoming Heroes Lounge playoffs that will declare which amateur team that's best in Europe and most probably the world. All of it after a short break. Welcome back, everyone. The mentioned mid-season brawl, which will prove which pro team is the best in the world at the moment. But there is also a tournament to declare the best amateur team. The Heroes Lounge playoffs are not far away. And Rob, why don't you give us some info on how all of this works?
Absolutely. So over the course of this season, we've had 5 divisions worth of teams, over 100 teams been playing over 9 rounds to decide the 16 teams to go into the playoffs. Top 8 from Division 1, top 4 Division 2, top 2 Division 3, and the first place of Division 4 and 5. And all those teams have been decided. So what they're going to be doing is playing the first round, which happens starts on the 5th, so Monday. So probably by the time this has come out, it will already be started.
Yeah, that's already now this week. So the first round is to be played just to be played this week before the weekend is over. And okay, so that's going to choose who goes into the upper and lower bracket then?
Exactly, yeah. Best of 3 all the way throughout the tournament, double elimination, with the final being best of 5, with the winner of the winner bracket getting a 1-game advantage.
Yeah.
Don't you best of 4?
Honourable best of 4.
Honourable best of 4, well only. Yeah, that's interesting. Last season's playoff really had a lot of really good games and some huge upsets from teams in the lower divisions. But I guess no one can stop Gorge Good Ulf from taking it all, don't they, Gunnar?
Thinking. I mean, if we play good, we can reach the finals if we play like we should do. But we do have a sub that's gonna play for us, so it's gonna be a little bit harder.
Yeah, for those not in the know, Galnagunnar plays on Gorge Good Ult, at least for this playoffs. You're coming into this. You finished 4th in Division 1.
That is correct.
Yeah, cool. So 4th seeded. And you finished just ahead of the Swish family, Kendrick Swish's team. And you did mention Thinking that finished 2nd, and Team TFT I can't remember what TFT is.
It's not Throw the Advantage.
No, that's a completely
friendship team is TFT.
That's a pretty good.
I always forget what TFT stands for as well.
I hadn't heard that until just now, so.
Those are gonna come into this as the favorites, being the winner of Division 1. But of course, everything can happen in the playoffs. As I understood it, there's possible to predict some brackets and win some prizes here, isn't it? Right?
Indeed. So we did this last season, and I'll point out last season I won it. Well, I technically won it, but I magnanimously, because of my kindness and my good heart, I gave the prize to the 2nd place person, who was my teammate and close friend. So
do I hear rigged? Yeah, I think I hear rigged.
I'm just good at guessing things. I can't help it. So the bracket challenge, first off, a bracket is on challenge.com/Heroes Lounge Season 3 with a number 3 there. It's challenge. It's basically challenge with an O. I don't know why the website's called that. If you go there, there's a button there called Create a Prediction. Effectively, you are predicting every game throughout the playoffs, and for each game that you get correctly, you get points. Most importantly, what you can win. We've got quite a cool prize this time around. We have a My Insanity jersey signed by Caldor himself. Caldor's a very vocal proponent of Heroes Lounge, so a big thanks to him and to My Insanity for helping us out with that stuff. I have been informed it's not pre-worn by Caldor, despite what some very weird people have asked for.
There have been surprisingly many people that have asked if he can wear it, maybe to practice or work out before it's sent in the mail. But
everyone would love to wear a shirt Johnny Sins has once worn. I mean, come on, it's like a dream for everyone.
No, a whole world. So yeah, if people want to check that stuff out and any of the Heroes Lounge stuff in general, to be honest, you can have a look on Twitter at Hots Lounge or heroeslounge.gg is the website. Website is going down very soon because we're having a relaunch of a new website, so that may not be working. So if in doubt, have a look at Hots Lounge or Heroes Lounge on Facebook as well, and there'll be loads of info on there.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Just Google that shit, and you will find what you're looking for. And get into this bracket challenge. Like it's a lot of fun to guess, and it makes it more interesting to pay attention to it. And of course, you can win some cool prizes. Last year, I had surprisingly many correctly. Unfortunately, I decided to bet that the team I was subbing for was going to win everything, and we didn't. So I lost a lot of points there. But you have to be positive, you know? You have to be optimistic.
You can make it better if you vote on yourself losing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the prize is worth that. Too much integrity.
A Calder shirt? Probably.
Yeah,
Probably
maybe. Luckily, I have good shirts, so I'm all good. But regarding paying attention to the tournament, all of this can be, or most of it at least, of the games. Like there are tons of games, and a lot of the games are going to go at the same time. But it's possible to follow a lot of the action, isn't it?
Well, the goal is we're going to cast every single one of these games. That is the goal. We may not quite get all of the first round done just because of it depends on the team scheduling for that. But for the actual playoff weekend itself, which is the 24th to the 25th of June, over those 2 days on the weekend, we will be trying to stream every single game on 3 different channels, which is a bit of a thing to manage, I can tell you. But it'll be so great if people do pop along. Last season, we were featured on the Blizzard launcher. We'll see if that happens again. We don't know because some of it may be overlapping with some of the HGC stuff. But regardless, people come in. It's a really cool place to play Heroes of the Storm. It got me completely back into it. It really is for all skill levels as well. We literally, from Grandmaster to Bronze players, we have like high-ranked Grandmasters playing. We have very low-ranked Bronze players playing.
Yeah, we even allow Rob to play.
I'm gold.
I like that you said that. We have everything from Galne Gunnar to Rob.
There's a little bit. There's not much below me, but there is some below me.
There are some. There are some.
We used to have Anger Fist, but he's gone now.
Shadows 007 are at least below me, so
they'll always be.
Yeah, always be below.
The Twitch that you can follow all this is Heroes_Lounge, and there's also the 2 additional channels, Heroes_Lounge 2 and Heroes_Lounge 3. I'm gonna cast a lot of that stuff. Rob is gonna cast a lot of that stuff. Hilda is gonna. What?
Nope. I might cast some of the first round, but otherwise I tend to organise the actual weekend itself. So I'll be interacting with the teams and the casters themselves and managing them over that weekend.
Yeah. Hilda is probably gonna co-cast a lot of that stuff, and Galne Gunnar is. Hopefully are gonna win a lot of that stuff, aren't you?
Probably. If I lose early, I will probably co-cast too, but let's not hope for that.
Yeah, we'll not count on you to co-cast then.
Can we, last but not least, can we get a little bit of predictions? Who do you guys think is going to win?
Ooh.
Don't say Gorge Goodall because that's just sucking up to Galne Gunnar.
Yeah, well, let's. I think for Galne Gunnar, let's go on the assumption that you guys are going to win. Who do you think is going to be second to Gorge Goodall, Galne Gunnar?
I think it's going to be like Thinking or TFT, but I'm not sure who to pick. I think I will go for Thinking because I would like to play them in the finals because we're pretty good friends with them.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also have an inclination towards Thinking. Like Team TFT, of course, they won Division 1. They're obviously very strong. I didn't see the game between them and Thinking, so I didn't see them go up against each other. But every time I've seen and casted Thinking, looked really solid, and looks like a very, very good team.
But you can never count out Fat 5. I would say that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think personally, I think Fat 5 is going to come back and win all of it in the end, because they have the ability to outbutton themselves out of everything, because their buttons are so amazingly good. I think it's going to be a final between them and TFT. Personally, I think TFT has the best papers to make it to the finals with Fat 5. So it's going to be close, but I think Fat 5 is going to run away with it again.
Yeah, as much as I would like to say Dropkick Murkeys, Division 5 champions, I completely agree with Hida 100%. I think the final is going to be TFT versus Fat 5, and I think Fat 5 will win it.
2-2, best of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Fat 5 is free agent team number 5. It was
last season's champions.
Yeah, last season champions, and our former co-host Epic Source that decided to just put together a team of the highest ranked MMR players that was in the free agent pool and see what happened, and he created a monster.
Somehow still Potatoes 007 won last season. We don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I know exactly how that happened.
Rigged. Yeah. Before we just move on, are there any of the non-Division 1 teams that you think can create some upsets there? Like last season playoffs, we had Throw Inc. from Division 2 at that time, the middle division, that just made a huge upset and beat some of the supposedly better teams. Do we have any of those this playoff?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Estral Esports. I think they can potentially upset a few teams. I actually had them beating a Division 1 team in their first game on my bracket prediction, always woo. Boosted Bonobos, if they get the side that they actually want to on the map, potentially could do, but I can't see it happening.
It is so true, however.
It is so true. You don't mess with being on the wrong side in an amateur tournament like this. Personally, I'm kind of looking at trust issues here from Division 3. With an 8-1 score in Division 3, of course, it is Division 3, but they have been pretty dominant in it.
Yeah, another good team. Another one, I think their average MMR, I think if you worked it out now, they would have been placed in Division 1. So they have some very good players on there. I think because of their first game being against Gorge Goodall, realistically, I think they're going to get smashed by Gorge Goodall. And I'm not just saying that because Gal is here. I think Gorge Goodall are just far too strong for them. So it'll be a case of how far they can get through in the losers bracket.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think Leyline Seals, which is the other Division 3 team, if I recall correctly, that's going to be in the thing. I want them to do well just because of their team logo, which is by far the best team logo in the entire lounge at this point. 100%. I'd like them to do well, but I think as far as upsets go, I think it's going to be the final 4 teams will all be Division 1. I'm fairly sure. I don't think we'll get another Throw Inc. Like we had last season.
Yeah, that's also because it just has to be mentioned. It's also because Heroes Lounge has come a long way since it started. We just finished season 3, and in season 1 it was pretty much up in the air and things was pretty improvised, but it was of course fun for everyone. But still, it had a lot of improvements to be made, and that continued through season 2. Everything got better, and now in season 3 we had more divisions than ever, and
much better matchmaking as well.
Yeah, much better matchmaking. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but it really works much better now, and I think that also have made the divisions more closer, more balanced, and more competitive. And that, every time you see games in the top division, you understand that this is the top division because the teams are just really solid. And again, there's a lot of good teams in the lounge, but I also think with how much and good competition there have been in Division 1 this year, and the scrims between them, and the amount of time put in, I would be surprised if it wasn't four Division 1 teams in the top 4 spots.
It is such a stacked division this time. Like last year, it was pretty stacked already with NTP and Fat5, amongst other teams. But this year, it's so full of amazingly good teams. Like not just like Fat5, TFT, Gorge Good Old, Swish Families, and Thinking, but there are still like Ponies with No Tricks, like NTP from last season. They can always bring some of the heat. Copera Gaming seemed to be a very very good team as well. Like you never know what the Division 1 teams will bring to the party.
Yeah.
I think the real thing that shows you the difference as well is that last season Fat5 kind of just stomped everybody and kind of ran away with it. Didn't really have much challenge. Lord of the Pings kind of a little bit, but I don't think Lord of the Pings were in the same league as Fat5. Whereas this season, I think there is legitimately 4 or 5 teams who could potentially finish it.
Yeah, and just to mention it, My Insanity Heroes and James Baker, 2 really good teams, finished on the 2 last spots in Division.
In demotion positions. My
Yeah,
Insanity may go to Division 2 next season.
Yeah. Links to all of this are going to be in the show description. So take a look at that. Join the bracket predictions and tune in to the streams. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of great games, and probably better than you would expect from amateur teams. With all of this, we have some great esports to look forward to. So don't plan any vacations just yet. The new Hero League season is also just a couple of weeks away with its amazing matchmaking. Oh, Dios mío. But that is discussion for another episode, as we are done for today. Galnegunnar, thanks for co-hosting on short notice. Do you have any shout-outs today?
Shout-outs to my Twitter at Galnegunnar93 and my Twitch at Galnegunnar93 as well. Shout out to you guys for the Slothcast. I love watching it, even though I'm not in it all the time. I love to watch it in my free time. And yeah, that's it.
Nice. Good luck in the playoffs. We're looking forward to you to seeing you play and maybe win. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Hidde, you have any parting words for our listeners today?
Well, shout out to everyone watching. That comes back every time to come and watch. Of course, that's what keeps the Slothcast alive somewhat. And yeah, shout out to all of the teams that are going to participate in the playoffs. Make it a good one. Last season was amazing with throwing and everything else. Make it just as good, if not better, this season.
Yeah, thanks for co-hosting this episode, Ida. And last, Rob, my British brother from another mother. Thanks so much for stepping in on such a short notice. Like, we literally asked him 1 hour and 30 minutes ago. So, yeah. In 1 week, we and Galnegunnar sit together at DreamHack watching the best teams in the world play. Are you hyped?
I am beyond hype, and I would like to say if any site listeners plan to go to DreamHack, there's going to be a giant group of us with Heroes Lounge t-shirts on, so please come and say hello. It'd be really cool to potentially chat some listeners there as well.
Feels bad.
Be hype, for sure.
I have to watch everything from home.
Feels bad, man.
Exams, damn it! I can't drop my education for something like that, sadly. Not like Arcaner. Oh well.
Yeah. Next year. There's always the next year. Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you both there. You have any shout-outs, Rob?
Just a shout out to everybody at Heroes Lounge. Remember heroeslounge.gg. Follow Heroes Lounge at Hots Lounge on Twitter. And a big shout out to Petman. We love you.
Petman.
We love you, man.
Petman number 1 fan.
I can, as always, be found on Twitter at @the_Narsha. And lastly, I'll just mention we're still waiting for iTunes to approve us, so this Slothcast can be found anywhere in audio form. We appreciate everyone that checks out the show's Twitter at SlothcastHots, also be linked in the show notes. Tell your friends, family, enemies, and side chicks about the show, and send us any form of feedback you should have, including questions and bad jokes. Thanks to the production crew and everyone listening. See you all soon, and as usual, good luck and have feeds.